I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, and the Double T 97.3 mobile app, brought to you by Happy State Bank. Clint, Gus, and Kyler. Well, bonus Tech Talk today as we go to 6:30. The Texas Rangers, you're just at this point trying to find any sort of positivity. You learned what yesterday, heading into the game, that a couple key players like Seager and Marcus Semien are pretty much just shut down for the year at this point. Just kind of.
Yeah, I mean it's.
You do get one more shot to see DeGrom on the mound this year. So if you're looking for fun stuff from that route, that's what you have tonight.
It'd be nice to see them finish above 500, but it's all cosmetic. I mean, who cares? I mean, you care, but it doesn't mean anything.
Well, and it's like
it's not like if we get above 500, we'll get a better draft pick.
Right.
No.
And just for fun, just for funnies over here, the Astros are in an interesting boat right now. If the playoffs were right now instead of in 5 games, they'd be out.
Unbelievable.
If you're looking at this point, you have to be rooting for the Guardians, right? In that series, because that seems like the better option or the more feasible option. Obviously, you've just got to find a way to take care of business on the way out. You didn't last night to start that series with the Athletics. Again, you can hear Game 2 tonight, 8:35, 100.7 the score. But if you were looking for, if we're still on the Guardians train, right? Well, who do they have for their last series? They're hosting the Rangers. So, I mean, if the Rangers have packed it up,
that's true.
I don't know how much help you're going to get from the division rival there.
What can we do to damage the Astros the most? What if it's the Rangers winning the game that gets the Astros in the playoffs? Oh, my gosh. Cats and dogs.
This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. G.J. Kinney to Oklahoma State, Gundy to Texas State. Yeah. I could see one of those things happening.
Yeah. Kale was on there going, when they asked Mike Gundy if he was going to, or asked Kale if Gundy was going to coach again, he was like, yeah, heck yeah. And when he does, I'm going with him. Mm-hmm. He might be way better at a Texas State type job where it's not super NIL intensive. I'm not saying he's not capable of winning a power forward, but if he just keeps the NIL and transfer portal are bad talk going, I'm not sure who would hire him other than a small school that would just go, hey, he could elevate us with his image and his success and whatnot.
I'm not being facetious when I say this because I legitimately think it would be interesting.
Absolutely.
Mike Gundy, TNT Big 12.
Oh, to the broadcast.
Yes.
Okay.
Put him on that table.
Sure. You can do that right now.
Yes.
You could be lining that up tomorrow.
that doesn't necessarily mean he won't be coaching next year or in a year or so, but
we can have both.
I'd be interested. And I have really enjoyed and past just the game that you're featured on there. Of course, I'm gonna like that one because it's a bunch of stories about Texas Tech. But I think all of the Big 12 coverage that they've done with that and really diving into it and saying it could be, hey, we got it, but we're not going to do much with it, or it could be we got it and we're going to turn this into a conference showcase and do a really good job with it. I think there was some worries because not that maybe not worries that they weren't going to do a good job with it, but worries that they wouldn't have kind of the inside knowledge because a lot of the people that they added weren't traditional Big 12 people or just Big 12 people at all. And I think that has been immediately washed away. I mean, I think they've done a tremendous job. But, I don't know about his moving on what the next coaching spot would be. But if he wound up like next week on the TNT table, I'd be in.
Yeah, absolutely. His candor, and he would probably have a pretty good take on the X's and O's and just the what. Sometimes the guys who are, I shouldn't say guys, but the folks who are straight out of the game and into the booth have a certain level of intrigue because they know what it's like to play against Tom Brady or coach against Bill Belichick or whatever the topic is, right? As opposed to someone that's, I've played in this ballpark, I've played at that stadium, I've played against, in this wind recently. Recently, I've played against Allen in Buffalo.
We got beat by this team by 30 points last year.
Right. That's not going to last forever, but it's it's
well, because I also
makes you immediately interested.
I understood the. I saw some why like if you're not a part of the Oklahoma State fan base, why do you care if Gundy's retired or not? And I will say there's still, if you're hanging on to the nostalgia of what the Big 12 was before conference realignment, like he is the Big 12. He's one of the old guards of the Big 12 that had still been around. I mean, he was there at times where you had Bill Snyder, the first run, on the sideline, where Stoops was on the sideline, where Mangino was on the sideline. All of these, Mac Brown, like all of these old school Big 12. Leach right here, like that. That lineage, that line of coaches is long gone. So I mean, I don't know. I understood kind of. I wasn't weeping over it or anything, but the Big 12 fans that were hanging on to nostalgia, I understood why that was an odd day to say the least. Yeah. So, anyways, we'll see where he ends up coaching, but they had this today. Caden McFarland, who is the sports director there for a news channel in Tulsa, said Jim Traber had said that they gave Mike Gundy the opportunity to announce his retirement and coach the rest of the season, and he declined. A lot of people are saying that this is false, but that's what's going on. That's what's going on right now, which is something we kind of threw out there, which was...
Yeah, Traber ought to have connections at OSU. I mean, he's older than Gundy, but he's in Oklahoma City sports talk and has been for 30 years, and you would think that he would be getting some level of good info out of the OSU camp. But,
who knows?
Yeah,
because that was just, again, mysterious that he made it to Tuesday, right?
Totally, and
that's
tracks.
What sounds,
it totally tracks. Like, hey, this isn't working. We want to do this with some dignity. We'll let you coach out the string. No. All right. We can do it your way. Deuces.
It is.
Again, as a Tech fan, I wanted to see him stay for another 2 or 3 years at the current rate here.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. Little bonus Tech Talk today. Rangers coming up at 6:30. Game 2 against the Twins. You can join us on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. You can call us on the Visual Edge IT hotline, 806-771-0973. We are live from the First United Bank studio. Clint, Gus, and Kyler. Also have the Astros and Athletics starting at 8:35 tonight on 100.7 The Score. We got this thought on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Play a little catch-up here. Houston's offense will test our defense more than any team Tech has played so far this season.
Yep.
Agree. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Because I get the...
I think Wigman's probably got a little bit more going
I
through the air.
I think they can stretch the
field. What if they don't have the... Yeah, what if
that's
they don't have the O-line that...
I don't think that they have the offensive line that Utah did or the running game that Utah did.
Right.
I think they're good or have been good. But the other thing, like when you look at what they've done so far, they haven't just dominated. Like they didn't dominate Stephen F. Austin. They didn't dominate Rice, and neither of those programs are, I don't think they should be beating their chest with 27 points against Stephen F. Austin. I don't necessarily think that they should be like beating their chest for 35 points against Rice. They had a good game against Colorado. That's what they've been, which, again, is a step up for their offense for sure. And I think you have to take them seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm very interested to see what they look like Friday night in Corvallis against a bad Oregon State team. But as far as for sure, this will be a bigger test than Utah. We'll see. Hey, I think it has the chance to be, certainly, but I'm not ready to go for sure that – because couldn't we just give credit to you that you stopped a really good rushing attack?
Well,
I think they've been more dynamic than Utah, but –
there will always be voices, just as there's always voices that either want to play fortune teller and determine if, this team's no good, 6 games in or whatever. And I wouldn't say 6 games in football, but you just, you're like, oh, way too early decider, right? Or, the final decision on something, backup quarterback comes to mind most notably. And, yeah, there will always be that element that's always, well, if they were any good, we wouldn't have beat them like that. Unless we're not giving ourselves any credit. We're tough guy, hard evaluator guy. There's lots of categories here. Remember Dickens and I having that conversation. Let's talk about the different types of people, the different types of messengers on bulletin boards. Sure. There's fire everybody guy. There's this. There's that. There's contrarian voice. All the things. And there's one character that's they must not have been very good if we beat them. Guy. That's one type of guy. So,
now to the text. To the texter, I 100%.
Overly cautious guy, maybe another way to say it. Yeah,
I'm not saying that I don't think that there's a chance of that. I just want to wait and see.
Absolutely.
Because Utah could go up to West Virginia and rush for 250 yards and pound them.
That's what they want to do.
And do what they want to do. And you could have a similar game defensively to what you just did at Rice Eccles going over to Houston.
Hey, good O-lines travel, and that O-line needs to prove that it is in fact a good O-line. And
also you need to have Devin Dampier prove that he can play in the Big 12.
Especially when you talk about 3 time zones too. Yeah. But he can play. Again, I think the running game is going to be an essential part of it for him. That's they're trying to find passing success off the run and. They're trying to control the line of scrimmage on both sides. You could say everybody is, but Utah's identity for 20 years has been that. And this is an O-line that we know how it's rated. We know how those individual players are
By the way,
rated.
this week, even after that, still the top-rated offensive line in the Big 12.
I know, and we don't know what that means.
It's just grades, but...
Well, then we better be the top-rated D-line, right? Because we just handled the top-rated O-line.
I can tell you are.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right where we want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that, it was one of the first things that Whittingham talked about in his presser yesterday, Monday. Kind of a little bit of post-mortem on our game, but then a lot of a focus ahead to their trip to West Virginia, and they're trying to go run it. But I think that part, so Wigman's style and Dampier's are very different. They're trying to reach a similar objective in a different way. It would be nice, like you said, it'd be nice to see, hey, he is more capable of getting downfield, but you know what? We're not going to give him more than about 2.5 seconds to do so.
I am interested to see
be in that grill all day long.
What just starting out what Houston's offense looks like against you, but then also how you defend a more dynamic quarterback, because he definitely is that over Dampier. And look, Dampier could end up 100% just being a Big 12 bust. I was with everybody that was shocked that he was getting thrown into everybody's top 5 quarterback list when they were making that. We talked about that plenty. But I still also think he has the chance to be what that offense needs to be. How about this next stretch for the Utes? Because I don't know about you. I want them to – I don't want them to be a dumpster fire, because I want to look back at that win and say, when you're doing resume talk, look what you did against this 9-3, 8-4 squad that, did flex on a few Big 12 teams and was top 5, top 6, right? Wouldn't that be better than saying, I told you they were awful? But for their prove it factor, Gus, how about this next stretch for them? So they're going to West Virginia. and then at home against Arizona State, who looks like they're starting to find their stride. And after that, it is at BYU, who, again, still hard to tell just how good they are. The defense is legit. The offense, I kind of have a similar opinion about them than I do Houston, where I just don't know what it looks like against some of the better opponents. But the defense is for real with BYU. And I think Bear Bachmeier, their freshman quarterback, he does look better and better every week. So you look at that, and Utah on one hand could get, they could get put in a locker pretty early in the Big 12, or they could make some statements and go.
Absolutely.
We'll see.
I mean, there was a lot of talk prior to our game last week, like this could be the game we see again in Arlington, Hegan, Utah. Mm-hmm. Nobody's path has been eliminated. Somebody loser's going to have a little bit of uphill climb. It could happen. Well, all right, let's see it. Glad it's not us having to win 8 in a row or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Nick Saban says that Utah defense that we just played isn't the best one in the state of Utah. He thinks BYU's better, so that's interesting too.
I do think that the Cougars are legit on that side of the ball.
Pretty good chance we're playing an undefeated Houston team and a 1-loss Kansas team.
Yeah. It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, who's getting into the jam from DJ Puddin'.
Puddin' over there, mixing it up.
He hand mixes every song. every song he plays.
Yeah.
Now can be hired for bat mitzvahs, birthday parties, weddings. DJ Puddin'. Just look up DJ Puddin'.
That's
right. Hit us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll get some more thoughts and comments in just a moment. But speaking of DJ Puddin', he's got our play of the day.
Sit back there a little longer as he goes back to throw, just going to dump it off right to Snowden. Red Raiders there quickly, and they've got him back behind the line of scrimmage. Loss on the play, and it's Rodriguez that got back there along with Gil Howard. Move Andrews in motion on the left side, hand it off to Parker, who's back in there. He's dropped the ball. He fumbled the football, and the officials are in there. It's Red Raider football. Dampier, quick throw left side. It's caught by Davis, and the ball's on the ground. Red Raiders scoop it. They've got it. Red Raiders have the turnover on the fumble. Now Dampier's going to roll to his right, getting chased by Holmes. He doesn't get it, but David Bailey does. Bailey gets the sack all the way back to the 17-yard line, and that'll force a 4th down for Utah. Dampier's back. The flag is down. Interception. He threw it to the far sideline as he was backing up, and it's intercepted by the Red Raiders.
Well, we play defense at Texas Tech.
What was that, Joey?
Well, we play defense at Texas Tech.
One more time? Excuse me?
Well, we play defense at Texas Tech.
What a great
Sorry, my headphone wasn't working. I got it plugged in
guys.
now. Say that again, Puddin'.
Well, we play defense at Texas Tech.
Well, that too. What you were saying, dude. Sorry, we're talking over you.
It was a great defensive performance from these guys, and it was highlighted by the one, the only, Jacob Rodriguez, who was not only named the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week, he was also the National Player of the Week.
Yeah. Creating turnovers like he is, that's a good way to do it, especially in a signature win like that.
Speaking of grades, the top graded linebacker in the country. Gus, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot of linebackers that play college football. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, that's big time.
Speaking of which, yesterday we did last week going into the game, somebody had mentioned, hey, you don't have these, and I understand this 100%, you don't have these giant sack numbers, is that something we should be keeping an eye on, or does that have more to do with the offense? And we said, well, all of the pressures are there. The offenses have just been not giving you a chance, and Utah did a little bit of that, but also I think that your defense, what you were trying to do, I thought what you did on Saturday against Utah, where you still had plenty of pressures, because, by the way, you come out of the weekend and still your your quick pressure leaders in college football. Romello Height, now the leader with 10, who had a great day in Utah. David Bailey with 9. That's third in the country. But what Shield Wood did at Houston, with a less talented roster, by the way, what they were really good at is just playing at the sticks and not giving you anything for free, and especially not letting you beat them if you had a mobile quarterback. And what was the worry with Dampier, right? It was, we made the joke about how many times did they hear rush lane discipline, but it was so true. And I thought you did it in a way where, like, even if there are times where he does try to extend a play, what happens? Well, he rolls out to the left. There's another defender. He has to force a throw, and there's Pollock, who, by the way, is your conference leader with interceptions. Oh, he's got to roll out. There's a defender, can't go anywhere, just got to throw it up. There's Jacob Rodriguez with a pick. Or there is Dante Balfour, who was very close to another interception in that game. I thought the way you handled that was it looked a lot like what Houston did last year. And you still got, the pressures, but the giant sack numbers weren't going to be there early in the season if the opposing coach was smart. And Kyle Whittingham is a smart coach.
Yep.
And I think Jason Beck is a good offensive coordinator and has got a lot of career left to show that, or at least has signs that he's a good offensive coordinator. And so I'm not shocked by the sack numbers, but then you see the pressures and just how quickly, when they did throw the ball, I mean, how many times did we see 5-yard to within that on pass attempts from him? There's a reason for that, right?
Yep.
And you did a really good job of handling that. And then the entire time as they continued to try to set up the run. And this is where I wonder what it would have looked like if you were able to finish some drives early in the first half, because my thinking with Utah was they're going to commit so much to the run, Gus, and so much to, less explosive offense and just beating you down and wanting to extend drives, that if it's close and they're within range and they're not having to work from 14, 17 points down, that they would keep trying that. And they are the type of offense that will keep ramming their head against that wall. And lo and behold, for 3 quarters, going on to a little bit in the fourth, what did we see? It was that same thing, right? And so I wonder if you were able to convert a couple more of those drives in the first half.
Early, yeah. Sure.
How would have that changed their offense and maybe given you some more
think about Rodriguez,
pass opportunities? But still,
just
who cares?
What we were talking about. Yeah. Just the clips that Kyler just played. Rodriguez getting that pick. I mean, that was at a point where, hey, everybody knows they're throwing. Here we go. And first thing that happened is a pick. And so it speaks to what you're saying. If they were playing down from 2 or 3 scores early, even if that's a 14-3, 17-3 game at half, that and they get out of their personality a little bit, it might have been trouble for him. Again, I can't really speak to the the significance of the injury, and if he just wasn't sharp or didn't have all of his arm strength, or whatever the impact of that is. Who knows? Who cares? But I guess we'd probably give that some conversation or some thought if we do get to Arlington and do get to play them again. Then you might be going, all right, because I'm sure a big part of the narrative is if this Utah team heats up and runs the table, that it's like, yeah, y'all didn't get the best version of Dampier. Okay, because we didn't see a great version, that's for sure. I mean, we talked about it in here on Monday. You and I rewatched it and just had the sound down, but at one point he had 28 attempts and 98 yards. Yeah. I mean, when you're at 3.5 yards per attempt, you ain't going well.
It's also showing you just how short those attempts were.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And then right after that, I think that maybe one of the very next plays was a 35, 40-yard play. A little bit of a scramble and a dump to the tight end.
Yeah.
He went about a 40-yard catch maybe.
Yeah, it was the play that busted that opened that scoring drive.
And talking about that, the Houston defense last year was among the nation's leaders in least among chunk plays, the least number of chunk plays. I think it was plays over 20 yards. And so when we didn't know anything about Shieldwood, we were talking about, well, I like that, like the thought of that. Because the number of just chunk plays and home runs that we've given up over the over the last few years.
Everything that defense was good at, you were awful at.
I mean, I use the word home run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
60-yard touchdown runs and things like that, chunk plays. It's like, hey, if you're going to score a bunch of points off of us, are you going to score them with 3-run homers, or are you going to score them with 3 walks and 2 singles and a bunt and a, you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm just going to walk up here and hit one off the engineering building, and, and our defense right now is making you do all the bunts and the singles and the walks and, whatever it is. It's really nice.
And so that does make me wonder, because, like, the next quarterback you're seeing, Connor Wegman, I mean, he can run. Can certainly do that. He's already shown some playmaking ability too when the pocket breaks down. I'm curious. I don't think it'll be 1-for-1, but just how similar you handle this week from last week. Because you would think you're going to get a little bit more opportunity to really go after the quarterback, and they're naturally going to run some offense where they're going to push the ball down the field at least a little bit more than what Utah was doing. So.
Yeah,
I'm really curious to see how you handle that.
Yep.
What the approach is. It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. Let's go to the SEC world for just a little bit when we come back.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I love day radio because sometimes it leads to night radio. Your night radio tonight, Texas Rangers taking on the Twins, 6:30, Double T 97.3. 6 o'clock, 100.7 the score. It is the high school fan zone. Lubbock High at 6, Friendship 6:30, Lubbock Cooper at 7. By the way, that Cooper Friendship matchup last week delivered once again. And then, man, Lubbock High, they had a heartbreaker as well. I think Rob Bro is still planning on fighting the San Angelo ref chapter over there. Oh. They lost by a point too. That was a tough one over there. It was a good game though. But so all 3 of those programs, they were in tight ones this past weekend. Again, 100.7 the score, 6 o'clock, and then after that, 8:35 Astros at Athletics.
Yeah, and the big news here at the station, Clint, we talked about it earlier. Who's our new NFL affiliate? Or for whom are we an NFL affiliate? Should probably better way to say that.
The Kansas City Chiefs. 100.7 the score. You can hear Chiefs games now, 100.7 the score, every single week. Wow. Oh, yeah. I would say 2 of us in the building were extra pumped.
You and Hines?
Yeah.
Chuck was down there yelling, "You can doubt the Chiefs! You can blah blah the Chiefs! You can disrespect the Chiefs! But you're going to have to deal with the Chiefs!" On 100.7, Sunday, 3 o'clock.
Do you ever do the, like a school that you hate? Like, who's your favorite, there's got to be a couple of Longhorns that you just happen to like, that you just try to forget that they're Longhorns or Aggies or something like that. I always play the game with that, for a Missouri Tiger. Again, it helps when you're on the Chiefs, but like Chase Daniel is a Missouri Tiger that I enjoy. Again, I just try to block out what he was in college and what he did, but I enjoyed him as a backup for Kansas City for years. Mitch Holtis, up there for a top Wildcat that I like. Again, I just try to forget the roots there.
It's probably been 6 weeks. It's probably going back to August, early August, something. Because I've always been fascinated by Coach Snyder at K-State. Like that turnaround is, it's not hyperbole to call that one of the 1 or 2 greatest turnarounds in college football history.
And then they had to go back to him to do a baby turnaround after the Ron Prince there.
Kansas State had done nothing in their history. Not an exaggeration. I'm not saying there were a bunch of 5 and 6 years. No, like just repeatedly 1 and 9. All right.
Well, they were going to cut the program.
Yes, he gets there and turns that whole thing around. Well, there was this YouTube thing I found probably, and it was about an hour long, and it was about his first couple teams, and fantastic. But a lot of the clips are playing, and like, wait, this is young Mitch Holthus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he was getting the early Snyder days before he was there. What, a handful of years, maybe.
Yeah,
5 or 6.
I don't know what his time frame of as far as calling the games were, but it wasn't like a. Well, he was there for 2 decades, and the Chiefs opened up, and they were like, "Hey, Mitch, you want to come over here?"
Yeah, I don't think it was that long, but it was a few years. But I think he's. It's one of those interesting just intersections in sports. Where that kind of thing happens. You go, man, that's two guys that are pretty good at their line of work that were overlapping. Mm-hmm. One of them's cutting his teeth doing this, the other one's cutting his teeth doing that. How did that end up? Well, he's in the Hall of Fame, and he's going to be, pretty cool.
So anyways, if you were wanting the radio call for Patrick Mahomes every single week, that's probably the better way to pitch to that. You'll have that on 100.7 The Score.
I 100% agree. I'm fired up that it's on there because, again, it was they've been on in Lubbock the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years since Pat really got going, and this year I've been looking for it and it wasn't there, and I'm glad it's here in the family.
Yeah,
checks all the boxes.
The family. You asked me this, the day of which Patrick Mahomes plays. Let's get some thoughts from Mr. Paul Finebaum. Now, big story is all the conferences now are going to. The ACC was the last one. Well, they did that real quick after the SEC got made their decision. Everybody playing 9 games now and 10 Power 4 games in a season. I assume that this will push along playoff expansion, but something the SEC is still upset with how the playoffs were handled last year, even though I thought the ones that made it were deserving. And by the way, they had a 1-3 record. This was an interesting quote from Finebaum on the playoffs this year.
This is supposed to be a night to celebrate where the SEC is, but I'm getting angry listening to this conversation because, Greg, we're all dumbfounded by what we heard last year. And we have laid a marker from the SEC at the feet of the CFP, and they better deliver. And I'm not making threats because I don't have any more control over it than anybody else, but I know some people who do. And if they screw this up, they will be paying for it. And I don't know how or will, but they should, because this is unequivocal what the SEC has laid down tonight.
Speaking of mob ties and mafia talk, I'm not making a threat, but they better get this right or there will be some consequences, Gus. What did they get wrong last year?
I don't know. I mean,
because of however many lost Alabama team was on the outside looking in?
Like, I mean, come on. You can't go get housed by a lame Oklahoma, 6-6 team and get beat, 24-3 or whatever that mess was. I mean, I'm as T-shirt Bama as there is around here, and it just wasn't the year for that. But I don't specifically know, and obviously that conversation has some context. I don't know what it is, but
I think it's laying the groundwork because they've had the best non-conference matchup. But still, if you have a bunch of SEC teams that bungle it down the stretch, and if you have the decision between an 11-1 SEC or an 11-1 Big 12 ACC Big 10 school, and they're up against a 3-loss SEC team,
right?
That other one's probably going to get in, and it was that SEC team. I'm just putting in blank, faceless SEC team that's in that situation. It was going to be their fault that they got to whatever that loss count was. Interesting threats, though. What will happen if not? It's Tech Talk.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, and the Double T 97.3 mobile app, brought to you by Happy State Bank. Hour number 3. Keep hitting us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. You can also call us on the Visual Edge IT hotline, 806-771-0973. If you'd like to watch us, you got Fox 34 News Now, Facebook, YouTube, all of that is available to you. And if you're watching on YouTube on the Double T Sports Network channel, we'd love it if you subscribed. Also be easier to keep up to date with everything that we're doing past just live streams. Let's get a couple more thoughts off the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We got this thought. Houston's fan base has us as their first ranked win of the season.
All right.
I do think, and I'll say this, they're rolling in with a lot of confidence. I don't think anything will be different after their Friday night game against Oregon State. Somebody, I can't remember who it was, on Twitter had shared it, and it was kind of funny because they're wearing their powder blues, which is a sweet look. I really do like it, and I like that they fought to keep them. The Oiler-esque uniforms there with the Houston blue, but I assume that means that they're trying to do blue in the stands as well. I don't know if that for sure is the case, if they're doing like a Houston blue out or something like that, but it would be really funny if they did, because there's going to be a lot of Red Raiders in the house, and it would make it a lot easier to see how many there were.
True.
All right, there's some red, there's some red, there's some red. Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. But I do like the Houston blue.
I do too.
It's a sharp look.
Houston Oilers
Hope
throwback.
Hope it's a sharp look that's losing by 45 points in the third quarter. But yeah, and the other part of that is, again, they're not. I don't think that they're going to go into that game in shambles, and I do think that they're going to be a confident Houston team. And something else too, as far as what's different right now about this Houston team than last year's 4-win Houston team? Well, offensively, again, I don't think that they've shown this consistent example of being explosive. But Gus, you know what they don't have yet?
I don't know.
A turnover.
They haven't committed, or they haven't turned.
They have not.
Over.
They haven't turned the ball over offensively, and that is Willie Fritz's ball.
Yeah, it is.
And
Willie Fritz is. He's just solid old winning coach, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's the type of coach. Again, I think that there's a lot of similar philosophies between the coach you just faced in Kyle Whittingham and Willie Fritz, where one of the first things that jumps out is you don't beat yourself. You don't put yourself in that situation. And it is interesting that you're, the Devin Dampier, where we were going, hey, is that turnover prone Dampier? Is he still in there? Because he hadn't individually committed a turnover going into that game, and then you found out, yes, he's still there, and you made him look like that.
Yes.
Well, Connor Wegman in his career didn't ever really find his footing at Texas A&M. Certainly has found more of that early on with Houston. Can you force that out of him? That's going to be the goal, right? Because assuming, if they do take care of the ball just like they have in Oregon State, I think that's going to be a big talking point for them is, hey, and either way, I can't imagine they're going to have like a 6 turnover day and all of a sudden we're going to go, yep, they're
right.
Suddenly there's
the regression to the mean.
There it is. There was the backward step. So I think that's going to be another, I guess, similar talking point to what you just had with Utah, which is just interesting because I don't know if 2 years ago I would have said that about Houston. That they're like they're a ball control. They're taking they're taking what you give them offensively, and
that wasn't Dana's operation.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't his MO there. Take what you give him.
Yeah. This on the no doubt. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Utah was a phony. They will finish 6-6.
All right. Hope you're wrong, but all right.
Mm-hmm.
You're on record.
I mean, on one hand, it isn't like the craziest thing to think if the offense really is that bad. Again, I'm hoping that
I hope that O-line will carry them to something.
I'm hoping you made their skill players look that bad, and that and their offensive line, and that they're not going to be another just really hard offense to watch. I think it's already better than what it was last year without Rising, but the how much better test, that did not go well on Saturday for them. And again, I like to think that is more to do with you than it does with them, but if we're being honest, there's probably a meeting in the middle of those two thoughts. Sure. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. They are encouraging the fans to wear blue. Bought a ticket to go watch from the Houston page, and the ticket says to wear blue.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we're talking about the next 3 games. I mean, that Houston game's obviously getting all the attention, and then home for very likely the one-loss K-State team, and then
Kansas
team, and then the monster on the schedule.
That's the ref going saying the wrong name and everyone booing.
Sure. Yeah, that's the monster game on the schedule is in Tempe after that.
Yeah.
Likely,
Boy, Arizona State's going to be
stretch right here.
Arizona State's going to be such an intriguing watch over this next couple of games. They've got speaking of which, on both sides, they've got a huge one this weekend. Friday night, hosting TCU. Still trying to figure out something about them.
Yeah.
They're coming off of the last Iron Skillet win for at least a while.
That feels like it'll be an offensive game, doesn't it?
Yeah. Eric McAllister for them had been kind of quiet this year and then had a breakout, like 250 plus, 3 touchdowns.
They're going to be a game in the 30s, Clint? 40s?
With Arizona State, I tend to think in the 30s is the safe bet. I think TCU would like
Tempe, right?
Yeah, I think TCU would like that to be closer to the 40s, and I think Arizona State would like that to be more ball control and less run and gun. It's Tech Talk.
This has been the Tech Talk Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.